out, but I'm gonna be copper foiling and hopefully soldering a couple of really small pieces. I do have my laptop open. If anybody happens to jump in, wants to chat, has questions, hopefully everything goes smoothly. It has not gone well the last couple of times, but yeah. So today I am going to be copper foiling a lot of little small projects. And I am working on sort of a way to, I did a poll on my actual YouTube page to see kind of what people were interested in learning about or interested in watching on the live. And it seems like a lot of people wanted to see a little bit of everything. So I am working on a way to, sorry, I had to get a couple things behind the scenes set up. I am working on a way to do like a little bit of each process so I can do like a full stained glass experience on the live. But for today, and I don't know how well this is going to work because the wind is really blowing. I'm in a little bit of a different area. We're just going to give it a go and see what happens. And I'm just going to foil. And if anybody has questions, for those who might not be familiar with me, my name is Jen, and I have been teaching myself how to make stained glass for 2 months now. It is quite the experience, I will say that. It has been a roller coaster. Hopefully this is a good spot to be in. But it has been a roller coaster, and it seems like recently, the more, like when I get better at one thing, it kind of seems like something else goes a little bit backwards, like my techniques, or I don't know, it's very odd. So I've been struggling a little bit recently with stained glass, but it has been a really amazing experience. And I will say that the foil that I'm currently using is not my favorite at all. I don't like it, but it's all I have right now. And it's slightly thicker than the original roll that I had gotten. And even though it's so, I wish if I had the two side by side, you would probably not even be able to tell the difference in the sizes. But when you're working with it, you absolutely can. And so I find with this one, which is just a little bit thicker widthwise than the other one that I had, it cracks a lot easier. It's not as easy to work with, especially around the curves. And it's just overall just not my favorite experience. But to copper foil, the important things are definitely, I mean, I learned a lot since starting this journey. And one of the things that I learned, I do post like my experiences, my learning, what I've learned in each project, what I'm currently learning. And one of the things that I really learned, especially in the project, I don't know if you've ever seen it, or if anybody does see it, but I made a pig and a cow as my first two projects. They were so terrible, but I learned so much. And I gave the pig to my friend, and she was just so grateful for it. And if I had it right now, I would show it to you and laugh about how terrible it is. But with the pig especially, I learned that I was not pressing my copper foil actually into the glass enough. I was using a permanent marker, which as a beginner, you watch all these videos, a lot of people, content creators or stained glass creators, will tell you you never really have to upgrade. I disagree with that completely. Getting these little burnishing tools, they are so inexpensive. They make a world of difference in your actual ability to kind of press that into the glass. So that was the biggest thing that I learned, was it needs to be pressed in. If you find something wrong, fix it right away. Don't wait thinking it's going to just be covered by solder, because it won't. Solder can help with a lot of things and can help you cover a lot of mistakes. But when it comes to the foiling process, if there's a crack in it, you need to fix it because you will absolutely see it. And so I'm also not as even with copper foiling with this thicker one. But we're gonna try it the best we can. So I know that one of these spots kind of ripped off. That was another thing with this thicker roll. It doesn't, I don't know, it just seems like it's not as secure. I don't want to say secure. It'll hold up just fine, but it seems like it rips a lot easier. And yesterday I think I was on a live, I can't remember what day it was, and I was soldering because somebody had told me to increase the temperature. And I don't know if it's for all of tinning, when you tin around the edges instead of soldering the whole thing, the adhesive started to like melt off, which has never happened before. And I've used my temperature at that 700 degrees while tinning, so I don't know if it was this actual copper foil or just a bad day, or it needs to be put down. The temperature needs to go down in general. I don't know. But that's something I'm gonna have to experiment with. So when you fix something on here, and it's very hot outside, so I'm trying to handle that too. But when you're ready to fix like a little tear, I know it's very hard to see when you're on the actual screen there. I covered my little tear with copper foil. You go over the edge there, wrap it around, and you wanna press it in again. And before you use your X-Acto knife, and all you want to do is kind of follow your line as closely as you can, because if you don't, you're going to have your solder drip over and you're going to have a little bit of a wavy line. But you want to make sure that you're pressing it in before you actually use your X-Acto knife, because if you don't, it's just going to rip right up. And again, I am just a beginner at this. Every project is an adventure. But it is a great experience. Expensive. So if you do want to get into making stained glass, I highly, 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 highly encourage you to take a community class, find something local, and see if you like it before you just kind of, hi Theo. I am just doing, I have some like, it's like kind of a spooky theme today. I have some potion bottles. I think that's all I have today, as well as like a book. And I am going to attempt to do something I've never done before with a copper foil overlay, but I don't really know if I'm going to get to that on the live. I'm going to foil my potion bottles, and then I'm going to solder. And I'd like to do something, I don't know if I have them out here. Hang on. Like I want to add either a crescent moon or like a little ghost on the book cover. And I know I have to use that E6000 glue, but I've never actually done the overlay, and I don't have good artistic abilities to just freehand and cut something out. So I'm hoping to kind of get to that too, but we'll see. But today I'm just making like little stained glass potion bottles. Right now I'm foiling, and if all goes well, I will do the soldering on here too. I probably could. You could practice to kind of figure it out. We'll see how, we'll see if I can actually cut them out or not. But I love your confidence in me. So I'm just going through and foiling my pieces. The wind is blowing, it's hot out, so I'm working with against the elements, I guess I should say. And I'm a little bit more shaky than I normally am, but we're gonna see how it goes. Like this piece is just not working with me. And some days are just like that. My first piece seemed to go really smoothly. And I was saying earlier that I just do not like this thicker copper foil. When I say thicker, I mean widthwise. It, I don't know, it breaks a lot more easy, breaks a lot easier. And it's a little bit harder to kind of line up the center of my glass piece. I know it's a little bit hard to see when you're on there. But I know this one is definitely going to have a lot of cracks around those curves, which I'm prepared for to kind of fix. It's definitely the copper foil. I thought because I was a beginner that maybe it was like the way I do things, but I experimented with another roll that's a little bit thinner, and I didn't have the issues that I have with this thicker one. No, I mean, people come in. I'm very new to this. Sometimes there's people in. I like to go on the off-peak hours. Like right now, my general viewership's probably not on here at all because I am so new to this and learning how to do YouTube Live. A lot of times I just don't talk and just work, which is when I do better work because I'm not as distracted. The other day I was doing a sunflower. It went so smoothly. I was not prepared for it at all to go so smoothly. So I got a little confident and I ended up they're gone now, but really slicing my hand on the live, which was so awkward. You just never know what you're gonna get. Oh, well, thank you. So it says arts and crafts. What kind of, do you make stained glass or what kind of crafts do you make? And more importantly, do you post them on your channel? So I don't know if you can see on the screen or not, but there are 2 cracks here and it cracked on the same side, on the opposite side in the same spot over there. Paint and make paper things? What kind of paper things? I'll check it out. I don't use, I haven't used this platform much, but I really enjoy watching the art stuff on here. So I'm trying to find new content to watch. I'll have to remember the username. And one thing about textured glass, when it comes to copper foiling, this one's not too bad, but it's not flat. And it definitely can crack your foil. It's harder to press into it. So you gotta pay a little bit more attention on those sides. And I know I have a lot of fixing to do on this one. Do you do like screen printing when you say that? Or like you make flags out of paper? Like what's that one where they do the swirl type of stuff? Like that kind of crafting or paper? So I know that there are a ton of cracks in here, which even though I give myself grace because I am a beginner, you're just kind of learning the ropes and it takes a long time to get good at something. I do know that this has a lot to do with my actual foil. That's pretty cool. I'll check it out. When you say black metal, do you mean like a genre of music, or do you mean like you work with metal, like the material metal? I made it's emo music, but I made a stained glass piece for a band, and I get a lot of comments about it. It's pretty funny, but people don't know what it is. It's just a really cool looking piece. And so I was just wondering if you meant like music. That's pretty cool. Just for fun, like just for yourself, or do you make stuff in collaboration with the bands or anything? When I did that emo piece, there were a bunch of comments asking for specific band albums, and I was like, gosh, this is a lot of pressure. That's hard. I will give you credit for that. It's very difficult to recreate that stuff out of a different medium. And sometimes it's really difficult to actually see the cracks based on the reflections. Just fan art? That's pretty cool. I'll check it out. I probably won't know many of the bands, or any of them, but I have to write down your username so I don't forget, because that will definitely happen. Do you ever go live and do your art? Going live is a totally different ballgame, and it's very intimidating. And even though there's like little, I don't know if you can see it on the screen or not, but there's little crinkles in the actual foil, that doesn't mean that it's not pressed into the glass. That's where it kind of makes it difficult to see if it's a crack or not. Sometimes when the foil, if I keep pressing on it, it's going to take that adhesive off. It doesn't mean that it's not on there well. It's just sometimes that's just kind of what it ends up looking like. But you do want to make sure that it's really pressed in there. Yeah, that works perfect. That would be awesome. I'll check it out. I think this platform is so amazing for getting to see art and that you normally wouldn't have the opportunity to see. You wouldn't come across. It's one of the better ones. I have not been enjoying any other social media platform, and I've never been into YouTube before. But now that I'm on here, I absolutely love it. So when you're foiling, I like to go through and just kind of fix all the cracks that I can at first and then go through and cut. Doesn't really matter which step you do it in. And then you just want to get as close to following that line as you can. Because if you don't, when you go to solder, you're gonna have like a little lump that kind of overflows, and you won't have a smooth line. All right, thank you. Yeah, I will definitely check it out. As soon as I'm off of here. Are you interested in stained glass, or you just like randomly came across a video? It's probably the audio of like one of those trending audios. And I never know like what people are on here for. Like I said, I normally just don't talk at all. Every once in a while, like there are two people that come on and make conversations, and it's awesome. But for the most part, especially when I'm doing cutting or soldering, I just like to stay quiet. It does stink that you can't have music on. I get it, but it stinks. At least the birds are chirping. Like to watch, I think it's cool. So I noticed that you spelled colored like the, I'm obviously an American in America. Are you in America, or you don't have to tell me what country you're from, but one of my other subscribers is from France, and I just say it's so fascinating. It's so cool that you can connect with people on the internet like that. And I also find that it's interesting the differences in the arts and the techniques, the materials that are used overseas versus in America. Greece, that's pretty cool. Never been there. I have a cousin that goes like every year. So I knew this was gonna have so many cracks in it, just in general. But not too bad. Gotcha, that makes sense. That's pretty cool though. Is it, silly question probably for anybody, but is it summer there or becoming summer, or is that like I think right now Australia is going into winter? Are you guys in summer? That's probably a really silly question that shows how little I know about geography. I feel like it's summer. Hi Sue, thank you. It's going. It's definitely going. I was just talking about you and how I usually stay quiet and let people chime in. Thank you for popping in. So this is another one that I'm definitely going to have cracks in, but it is the foil for the most part. I'm pretty good at figuring out which curves are gonna crack on me or I'm gonna struggle with, but this is definitely just a third of the year. I don't know if I could handle that. It's supposed to be really beautiful though. Do you have like a winter then? Or is it like springtime on the off season? Yeah, that's cool. Thank you so much for chiming in. But I would love to know if there's like a winter season or like a spring season. Harsh, I guess, like harsh weather conditions. Really? That's cool. Thank you. I'm glad you answered that. Very cool. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you on here. So this one, this foil just really bums me out. But I can see there's cracks all along these little areas. And this is an area where I'm gonna go over it with the foil and kind of take a little bit off because I can see my line wasn't very straight there. Bye, thank you so much. And I do wonder if like, it's not left out in the heat, but I do wonder if the heat has a impact on foiling when you're doing it outside. Because I don't know if you can see how many cracks actually happened here. And it's very, very humid too. Usually I do this inside, but I thought it would be nice to do outdoors today. And I am trying to figure out which project to do on a live where I can do like a little bit of each step. So if anybody has suggestions on that, the only thing I won't do is grinding, mostly because it's just loud, but also because I don't really have a good angle to do that at. And you definitely do not need to use as much foil as I am when I go over these little areas. I made my very first garden stakes yesterday, or the day before and yesterday. The first one I did was terrible. And then I learned a little bit, and the next ones were awesome. They are so easy to work with. If anybody's interested in learning about garden stakes, I will definitely be posting a longer video on it. Super easy to work with. I do wish that I would have gotten shorter ones. I don't have the finished one here, but here's what they look like. They're just copper rods. These are 3mm, I believe. They have 2mm that are a little bit thinner, and I think they're like 12 inches. But I do wish that I would have gotten shorter ones. Because those are just a little bit too long, and I don't think I have anything that I can cut them with because of how thick they are. But those are so cool to work with. I do want to get a little bit better at the lead cane version. This is the copper foil method of stained glass. The lead cane version, I could make them so that you could use the garden stakes outside. Those ones, because of the process of it, this isn't good for outside. The rain and the elements would definitely break it or get to it. And you wouldn't be able to leave them out. They're for indoor plants. So it can be a little bit difficult to see. And if you ever just kind of royally mess up on your copper foiling, just start over. It's tedious and it stinks, but if you keep going over the same spot over and over again, you're gonna get a copper foil buildup that's not gonna be great for soldering, but also you're gonna see it, or you can potentially see it, depending on how bad it is when you go to solder. So if you mess up at this spot, as much as it stinks, just take the time to kind of fix it, because you will see the imperfections of it during the next step. And I'm also wearing headphones, which is probably not my best decision because I can tell I'm just slamming things down. So I'm trying to be a little bit more aware of what's going on. I wanted to get another one of these foiled while I was on here and then do the soldering, because I have to kind of set things up a little bit differently. And the soldering is going to go pretty quickly. So I'm going to see where I'm at after I finish this one. This one I'm not going to do a garden stake on. I'm just going to do hooks to hang it. The other ones that I did garden stakes, which were so easy and so fun. I'll do a cauldron with this one. Oh, with a little spooky theme today. I also really want to invest in a, they're not expensive at all. I don't know why I phrased it that way, but a copper foil roll, like a holder. I have to get one. if you don't have one like me, you want to cut off a little bit of your copper foil from the roll and kind of let it hang and have enough where it's hanging so it's not pulled tight, because otherwise it gets stuck and will twist and make your life miserable. I think it's a given on this one that it's cracking on the curve there, but it just is what it is. And I like to leave a little bit, you can probably see how long I'm going. It's not for any reason other than I know that the oil from my fingers is getting on the edge here of this copper foil. So I don't want to put it too close. Excuse me, I'm gonna get a drink of water real quick. So I don't want to put it too close because the oil from my fingertips is definitely gonna mess with how it adheres to the glass or the foil. And that is the only reason that that really happens. I'm not sure if other people have that problem. Just a me thing. I will say that this is probably, I mean, if it was inside, this would be a lot better, but I don't mind foiling at all. You throw on your headphones, you zone out, you have to focus on what you're doing. It's wonderful. So I know I have a couple of more spell jars, but I'm actually going to do one of these cauldrons because I wanted to see, I don't know if I'll do both of them right now to foil them, but I'm definitely going to do one. The little feet were a nightmare to work with. I was debating on putting this on the garden stake, but I don't think I want to. I think I'm going to hang them. And I'm also going to attempt to do like the little, I may have lost my sheet of paper. I'll have to find it, but oh, here. Like the little loop out there with the copper foil. I've only done it one other time. It was terrible, a horrible experience. It was my second piece ever, and I haven't really learned anything about it since then. So we shall see. I feel like I should have done a little bit more off the top of that one and this one. So one thing that I'm really noticing is there's something that's happening between my grinding process and there's something happening during the grinding process. So when I had this out, I had a different piece. It was on plastic, but it fit inside of here. And I wonder if this is just kind of the pattern that I had on there. But then when I go to actually lay it out, it just seems like it's a little bit off. So I have to figure out what's causing that, because I honestly don't know what could be causing it. I know with my Mother Mary project, so this is a little bit thicker of glass, and you can definitely tell. So it's gonna be weird to do this one. With my Mother Mary project, I learned why people pin their projects after they're done grinding, but I still haven't gotten in the habit of doing that. So this foil might work for this size actually. I don't know why this one is so much thicker than the other one. We're just gonna pray for the best here because I don't know. And one thing is, like, this glass is clearly thicker than the other one. It's hard to see on film, but it does impact your solder lines a little bit because obviously if there's not copper for it to adhere to, your solder lines are going to be thinner. And I wonder if people just don't notice that or pay attention to it, or if they use a different copper foil on it. Like down here, it's going to be really thin. It's very hard to adjust to when you're copper foiling if you have a slightly thicker glass, because every glass texture is different, every glass thickness is different, and figuring out how to line it up is so difficult. But I've definitely gotten better since I've started, and I think that's all that matters. Not as bad as I thought it would have been. I am debating about down here if I should just leave it that thin. I don't know. See, if you don't press down enough there, I don't know if you can see that or not, it kind of pulls up a little bit, which is why you want to go over on the edge, especially. Hi, Theo. Thanks for joining again. That was fast. What's the time there? I'm guessing it's evening. I'm also very excited to see what kind of art you make. And if it's based on like bands and stuff, I think that's pretty cool. Feels like every time I fix a crack, I'm finding a new one on this one. I'm really deciding on making these garden stakes or not, because I think they would be so cute, but I think they're going to be too long when it's on the actual thing. So I got to figure out where to put the hooks in this. Oh, that's cool. I don't show my face either. And one thing that I also noticed when it came to copper foiling was that I really struggle with not wanting to kind of, excuse me, like rub it. And if you keep pressing back and forth, you have to get in the habit of pulling it towards you. Which you'll learn about because you'll just peel up that adhesive. And when you see those creases, you can kind of pull them forward a little bit and they'll smooth out for the most part. You'll kind of spot the differences as you're doing it and learning. I am definitely someone that could watch a million videos and until I actually do it. These are so wonky together. Until I actually do it, yeah, it's so weird. It is what it is. These smaller pieces are also not fun to copper foil. They're always so tedious to kind of go around. Yeah, definitely cracked. That's okay. And then after I finish this one, I'm gonna get the solder out because I don't think I'm gonna be on here much longer after that. The round ones are always so weird too because it's so difficult to use your X-Acto knife on them. The way that it bundles and curves up. Another thing that I really learned with one of my recent projects was that they have this black backed copper foil, especially if you're using like clear glass. Because I don't have like a machine where everything is perfectly aligned, it's always going to be a little bit off. So I want to look into getting that. I've read some mixed reviews on it as far as the quality goes. But for this one, it won't really matter. Maybe you can kind of see at this one because it's a bigger crack. I don't know if it shows on the screen or not, or how close I have to be to it, but right here in the center there, you can see there's a crack in it. So when I go over with my foil in those little pieces, that's what I'm covering. And again, you just really want to make sure it's pressed in there, because if it's not, you'll be able to feel around the edges of it as well. Like you'll feel it kind of peeling up, and that's how you'll also know that it's not on there. Those round ones are just not my best work. But I'm getting better, so it is all about progress. Hi, Sue. No, right now I'm doing this cauldron, and then after I finish this one, I'm gonna solder. I was debating on doing this one as like a garden stake like I did on the other ones, but I think I need shorter garden stakes. So I'm gonna just foil or solder it, and I think put chain right there. And the bottle I did garden stakes on yesterday or the day before, and I'm gonna do chain instead. I'm gonna put one, kind of hang it sideways and put one here and one here, I think. I don't know if I'll go there. So I'm getting ready to do that as soon as I finish this one up. I can tell this one's a little bit off because I'm adjusting from the thickness of the other glass. I notice that's a thing with me. My brain like doesn't want to adjust to it. No, I knew you were going to ask. I was actually going to debate on bringing it up, but I didn't yet. I do plan on watching it tonight. That is my goal. Because it's on the Disney one, right? I have not forgotten about it though. I'm honestly shocked this one didn't crack as much, if at all, around the sides here. But there's still time. Shouldn't jinx myself. It's on Disney. Okay, I'm gonna watch it tonight. I'm gonna do it. It's been a long week. And that's based on Rapunzel. Is that the one? Or Rapunzel's in it, I guess. No, I mean, okay, well, let me ask you this. I didn't like Frozen, so what's the status now? But I liked Brave, I think. I mean, nothing's gonna beat The Lion King for me, so don't get your hopes up too much. Okay, so I am gonna really quick grab my soldering iron. It does stink not having a large workspace, but I'm gonna make do with what we have. So I am going to, I hope that's the right one. I am going to grab my soldering iron. Make sure I do this. Clean up a little bit. Sorry, this is just part of the real-time stuff that has to happen. And unfortunately, you're just gonna have to look at that for a hot second. That's all clean. Sorry, I didn't think my workspace was that messy, but maybe one day I'll show the behind the scenes of what I actually work on. It's a very small area. I don't know. I think that I started to realize that like musicals weren't, that Disney wasn't like it was when I was a kid, obviously. It was okay, but I think because everybody was so obsessed with it, I don't know. So I use a Weller soldering iron, and I've recently learned a couple of things that make it a little bit easier. Excuse me. A couple of things that make it easier, but also, and I don't know, I was talking earlier about the actual copper foil, if it's part of my soldering iron, like the temperature of it, if it's the foil, if it's just in general. So I'm learning that I have to adjust the temperature quite a bit on the Weller. It's 170 watt, so it's not a bad one. Like when you see those $30 soldering irons on Amazon or anywhere, don't even bother. Like don't even, they're not worth a penny that for stuff like this. They're for electronics, and you're never going to have that consistent heat that you absolutely need. But the Weller has been okay. I do have to upgrade it to the Hacko. My feet are a little bit off there, you can see in the size difference. But I am going to go ahead and solder them. And the tape method is so much easier, especially for like these smaller pieces, than trying to pin everything together. I know I just had them. And I am going to attempt a beaded edge, which I'm not good at all. I've improved quite a bit. And the other day I did learn the temperature to do it at. So hopefully it goes smoothly, but we never know what we're going to get. Thank you. I appreciate that. I knew I was going to struggle with the feet. Like I was talking about, I had some cutting issues that one day with the small pieces, and so I got a little bit traumatized by it. And I need a new drill bit on my grinder, so I've been holding it really awkwardly because I'm just mad that you can't get the most use out of the top of the drill bit. So it's difficult to do. So hopefully this goes well. My intention is to put the hook here and here, but I also want to try to attach copper. And I don't know how that's gonna go. I've only done that type of thing once before. And it did not go well at all. So I don't know if I should do that before I do the beaded edge. Well, no, I would have to do it afterwards. So we're gonna see what happens. We're just gonna see what happens. And for the Weller soldering iron, I am putting up, oh, sorry. Sorry, I also have headphones on, and I said I know I'm so loud. In general, I'm loud, but you can't hear anything. So apologies all around. They're also not my flip-flops, so I'm just, they're very loud because they don't fit my feet. You don't have to wear, normally you would wear a heat protected glove if you are handling any sort of solder and metal and all that. I will switch to it when I do the beaded edge, but it makes it a little bit difficult for me to actually work in. So I just use extreme caution. And the only reason I use it is because there's lead in this, and it's just kind of an added layer. You just wash your hands really good when you're finished. You're fine, everything's good. But yeah, for protection, you would absolutely use a heat resistant glove. And so that's just adding a little bit of flux. And I know I'm gonna tin the edges before I flip it over, I think. I also learned, excuse me, for anybody who is trying to learn stained glass, because when I first started, I really struggled with soldering, and I would do this dot method where I would go around and dot and then smooth it over. And now I'm getting the hang of it. I don't do that anymore, and I do kind of what you see professionals do, I guess you would say. But even no matter which method you do, you want to drop a piece of solder, not only to kind of adhere them together in case something slips, but also it heats up the copper. So you're going to run into a lot less issues, and your soldering is going to be smoother. And I know I want to tin the edges of this, so I have to turn my soldering iron down because I did this, and when I'm tinning, and I don't know if it's this copper foil or if this is normal. It was the first time it happened, but when I'm tinning, it took off the adhesive. So I'm just lowering the temperature. My teacher didn't give us gloves either, it's okay. I do it now, but thank you, yeah. So I learned the solder iron was too low. I don't have any pieces, I give them all away when I make them. But when I was doing like a little bit, there was like a ripple effect. It was because of the temperature of the soldering iron. So this will be kind of for you to kind of note. So I turned it up to 700 degrees now, and that's what causes that cleanness because it's not cooling off fast enough to give that ripple effect. But like when I go tin the edges, 700 is too high because that adhesive is going to peel off. So you have to lower it, or at least I do. And tinning is fascinating to me still, because all of the videos you see, they say like, you just need to tin it, and then your beaded edge will roll over the side. It does not happen with mine. I don't know where that came from. A little bit hard angles to work with today. So flip it. Peeled up a little, so I might have to fix this. And I do find that painter's tape, hopefully this doesn't peel up, like when I'm actually soldering. There should not be flux on there, but there is an issue happening. is just part of stained glass. You know, you live and learn. If there is flux on the side, I have to go wash it off or it won't adhere on there. So I'm really praying that it didn't drip down. And I don't know what happened there. But sometimes the tape does peel it off. And I might have to not finish this one on live because it seems like it might have flux on this side. So unfortunately I have to wash this. I wonder if I have, let me see if I can get it off here. The one thing about live is that you can't edit out your mistakes and like reflect on it later. So I'm just gonna try and wash it off a little backwards and hope that I didn't just really mess up all of the copper foiling, which is always possible. Give that a second to dry and hope that it worked. Sorry, now I know my flip-flops are really loud too. While that's happening, I'm just increasing my temperature on my soldering iron again so I could do the solder lines. And normally I would just continue, you know, doing the live and show you how to wash it and all that, but I have to go inside and it's a whole different process. And I don't have a setup for it, so I might have to switch over to the potion, but we're gonna see if I can ever get this going. Are like fails as entertaining watching in real time as they are when you watch videos of them? Yeah, I don't think this is gonna do it. So there's flux on here, on the side over here. It must have dripped down when I was doing the paint, and when I pulled the painter's tape up, it ripped it a little bit. And since it's not, so I have to fix it. So basically I have to wash this really, really well to get all that flux off and re-copper foil it. So I'm gonna switch over to the potion bottle and see how that one goes. But this side looks good. Cute. You can look online for your area. A lot of places won't have prices online. So you might have to call to get an idea of it if it is far. I don't know where you're located, but like I'm in Middle Tennessee and there is just nothing for like an actual glass shop. There's like classes and people with overpriced stuff, but nothing where it's like a wholesale shop. I personally only know about some of them from a friend that makes stained glass. So there's one in Illinois that's like 4 hours north of me. There's some in Asheville, which is 4 hours west of me or east of me. And I think there's one in Memphis. So you kind of just go online and look and see. If you're on Facebook or anything, you'll usually find places on there. If you're in a group, you can ask people that might know one. But you can just look up stained glass wholesale. You're probably going to get a lot of places that sell their actual pieces, so you're just gonna have to kind of figure out which ones are which. Indiana had a lot of them, which I think was because that's where the Tiffany stained glass got their products made. That's hard to answer because every piece of glass has a different texture to it. So like if you're getting in, I don't even know what the correct words would be, but like opal or something that's more, how do I explain this? I don't have any examples in front of me because I just don't have really fancy glass, but something like this I actually got from my friend who makes stained glass. She got it years ago. And this pattern, although it doesn't really look like it, is a little bit more expensive than glass that is just that clear. So it's based on the square footage, to be honest with you. Like the ones that I buy online, I can get a 4x8, 8x8, or 10x10, and I'm paying probably like $3 to $5 more per square foot than if I were to go to a store. So the clear glass is going to be really cheap. You could probably get a 12x12 for like $7 maybe, depending on the textures and all of that good stuff. If you're paying, I don't even know what a comparison would be, but you'll get an idea of it. Like if you go online right now, the one that I use that I think is expensive but really good quality and great if you're ordering online was Bradstreet glass. Those are the ones that I'm kind of comparing the prices to in my head. Like I have a red piece. Let me see if I can find it. Used it. Yeah. So I have this one. You can see this is one of the more expensive ones. It's really pretty. And I want to say it was during their clearance event online and I paid $20 for it maybe, but don't quote me on that. But on the back of it, it's just kind of clear. And that was pretty cheap for it, but it's flat too, so it's not as expensive. Honestly, like Amazon prices are really expensive to me. I would not buy it there either, and it's so cheap, like cheaply made. I wouldn't ever go there, but you can kind of compare that square footage to like a local shop and see. Hopefully this one goes smoother. Oops. So I'm just gonna lower my temperature again. They're, I think their prices are a little bit high. If you can get them on clearance, like absolutely. I think their prices are a little bit high and their glass quality is low. But if you're just starting out, I don't know, ours just got it, so I only got to see a little bit of it. But I think when I was there, a 12x12 piece was 16 for like a basic orange color. So it's cheaper glass. Like but to practice with and stuff, I think it's fine. And honestly, probably one of your better options for prices at least. And some of their stuff was, because I was kind of price checking while I was there. Their solder, I don't like. That's what I'm using now. I think it smokes a lot more. So I'm not a huge fan of it. And it's more expensive than ordering it online, which was shocking to me. And it doesn't ever go on sale. But they did have like that foil holder, which was significantly cheaper there than it was on Amazon. So I think it just depends. And I know I'm gonna have to come through and fix this again. I don't mean, no, oh my gosh, no, I don't mean it in that way at all. I mean like cheaply made. Like let me make sure I don't mess this one up. I mean like cheaply made. I don't mean like the glass is gonna crack on you or break in the wrong spot. Like that's what I mean by it. I don't mean like no, 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 no. Stained glass is expensive. And you have to get so many different colors of it. No, no, that's not what I meant at all. It's kind of funny. So I think the heat is working against me today. And the adhesive is just not that great for this painter's tape today. And I do wonder if it's because I've increased my temperature on my soldering iron, and that's causing the adhesive on the painter's tape to get stuck to it. A lot of trial and error things when it comes to making stained glass. Okay, let's see if this works. Raise my temperature again because I'm just gonna do these inside lines before I do the tinning. So I'm at 700 degrees for the inside lines. I used to do it at like 610, and I would get a lot of ripples. Let it heat up a second. And when it bubbles up like that or it smokes, that generally means there's too much flux, but you'll learn about those. And honestly, I'd rather have too much than too little, because if you don't have flux on there, it's gonna peel your copper right up. Okay, just lowering my temperature again so I can do the edges. Then I'm gonna attempt the beaded edge. I don't know. I hope I never find out. Oh. I think my soldering iron just crapped out on me. Oh, it's back. That was so weird. I wonder if the power went out. Sorry, technical difficulties, which should be no surprise. I'm gonna let this get on again and hopefully be able to do the beaded edge. So for the beaded edge, I learned with the Weller, 480 was the temperature to do it at. I guess that could be considered burning it, but I don't know if that's like the technical term of it. I know that people do actually get flux poisoning when it smokes. I think it's from when it smokes like that. I'm not positive. But I know that that's a thing. So you never want to inhale any of that either, and make sure you're like in a well ventilated area. And like this is going to smoke a lot once I pull it out. You never want to inhale any of this stuff. Let that burn off, step away from it. They have like little exhaust fans that you can get for inside of your house. But I don't know if that's like technically considered burning it. I don't know. So I'm not good at my beaded edge. It's something that I'm very new at, even though I've been doing this for a little while. It is not easy to learn on the wrong iron. But I did learn that 480 was the perfect temperature, or it was yesterday at least, and the day before, for the beaded edge. So we're gonna lower it to 480, and it should be enough to, I hope this is the side I fluxed. I might have too much flux on here. It should be enough to pick up my solder and stick on there. If it's hotter than that, it seems like it drips off or it doesn't pick up the solder. And I do need some sort of jig to hold my piece so that I can work more easily. So I don't know if you can see how easy it's picking up the little beads of it. The only thing is it's gonna ripple a little bit more. So I don't have that wedge tip. If I did, I would go through and I would just pat them. But unfortunately, I have to work with what I have. And it's not gonna be as smooth as you're gonna see on other pieces. And that's why you wear heat-resistant gloves at all times when doing this. And then you kind of got to work with gravity and figure out the angle to hold it at, which is always a struggle. And thankfully patina will kind of hide some of those imperfections too. But definitely an improvement from my first pieces. And you kind of want to hold it and not flip it right away because it's not going to cool off right away and it'll drip or you'll get those ripples. I know I kind of messed up on this side and I want it to go this way. And remembering that gravity exists is always a struggle. Thank you. It is definitely an improvement. So there's too much solder on this piece over here. It's okay. So theoretically, when you're doing your beaded edge, it's supposed to roll over the side just a little bit. I can tell that the copper foil over here kind of messed up, but it doesn't work for mine for whatever reason. I think it's the tip that I use, but I'm not sure. I'm just raising the temperature a little bit so I could clean up or attempt to clean up some of the edges and hopefully not mess everything up. Don't know what happened there. And I know there was a little bit of a gap here, and so it kind of flattens out your line a little bit, but not too bad. I don't know if you can see that it kind of made a little bevel off the edge there. That's okay. And the edges are always difficult to work on. I think overall it turned out pretty good. I will say these smaller pieces are a lot more difficult. Like with the beaded edge, it's easier to work on, but then your solder lines are not as great. Especially on these corners. Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, that's more my style than the, I never saw the other one either. I don't think I would watch that one though. I will watch Tangled. Romeo and Juliet was such a good movie. It's so ridiculous, but so good. So I just know that there's these kind of like little, I'm struggling to learn how to fix, well, my temperature is lower, so maybe that's why it's getting all of these little tiny things, because it's cooling at a different temperature. So I wonder if that's why. But overall, I think the more that I mess with this, it's going to get worse. But I think it's pretty good. Yeah. Oops. Oh. So something happened right here with the copper foiling. It either got was too hot, or I don't know what could have happened over here, because the rest of it stuck together pretty well. I don't like that my beaded edge is still not beveling over the side like when you see other people doing it. I do know it has to be something, either the iron or the tip that I'm using, but once I patina it, you're really not going to notice. So I'm gonna let this cool off. I am debating still on if I'm gonna do a garden stake or not. I think I'm gonna end up doing a hook here and here maybe, and kind of have it hang a little bit off center. But yeah, and then I'm gonna figure out how to fix this one so I can get on here and finish that as well. But thank you everybody for joining me. I hope it was fun. I hope there were no technical difficulties aside from my soldering iron crapping out on me for a hot second there, which was so weird. But my Wi-Fi appears to be working in this location, so that's really good. Sue, you didn't say anything about it kind of going in and out. So I'm hoping that this is my good spot to do it in the future. And yeah, so I think I will head out. I appreciate all the comments and the interaction and anybody who tuned in. And if you ever want to see something or like a specific project, leave me a comment. I cannot promise anything because I definitely make my own patterns and it's not always easy. Oh, good. Okay, perfect. So this is just the spot I'll have to do it in. And one day I'll show you how awkward it is behind the scenes to actually get here. But yeah, so thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Stay cool. It is pretty hot out. So I will see you guys soon.